Hello, all my tremendous leadership fans out there. It is one of my favorite days. Pretty much every day is my favorite day, but this is an extra favorite day for me because it is new release day here at Tremendous Leadership. And today we have something very different. I want to introduce to you the author, third time author. This is Mimi Brodeur, and she wrote a book called The Zucchini Harvest Cookbook. Mimi, welcome.
Well, thank you, Tracy. Thank you so much for having me on your program today.
You're
I
welcome.
couldn't, yeah, go ahead.
And I love your background. Tell the viewers what that is back there.
Well, these are all my collection of cookbooks over the years. So, got all kinds, globally influenced as well.
Yes, you
I
are.
got my Martha Stewart cookbooks because I worked with her in at her Westport Farms uh, for doing an entertaining seminar. Oh, I've got all kinds.
I
Anyway.
love it. Well, and a lot of people are going to sit there and say, wait, Tracy, did you say a zucchini harvest cookbook? And folks, honestly, this is how I decide what to publish. Will it make your life more tremendous? And I have to say, I love zucchinis, and zucchinis are tremendous. And actually, one of my authors, Tracy Pawlowski, who wrote Life on Stony Run, she actually connected me with Mimi. And repeats and referrals are our lifeblood. So I was like, oh, I would love to do a cookbook. The people you meet, the books you read, and the zucchinis you cook, right, Mimi?
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, Tracy and I teach skiing at Round Top, so that's how I made that connection.
Oh,
Anyway,
there you have it. So Mimi's here in South Central Pennsylvania with me. And Mimi, I want to get right to this book because if the folks are watching it, this book is out. It's perfect for cooking for the holidays, for fall harvest, for getting, if you have people that love cookbooks for Christmas, this is the one. So, as I said, Mimi is a three-time published author. This is the first book with us, but Mimi has actually written three single ingredient cookbooks, a mushroom book, a peach book, and you can hold them up, Mimi. Yes. So,
there
and
we
we love
go.
peaches and mushrooms, and now zucchinis. So, Mimi, what drives you to the deep dive approach on one singular item rather than broader cookbooks? And is there a method to choosing which wonderful ingredient you decide to focus on?
Well, that is a very good question, Tracy. And actually, it was serendipity. I had written a dining guide, blah, 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 dining guide for South Central Pennsylvania. And I had taken it to the local publisher with, as an example of my work, a press release for the Mushroom Council. So they didn't like the dining guide because they said it was short shelf life, but they loved the idea of mushrooms. And they said, why don't you write a mushroom cookbook? So I said, okay. And I walked out with a contract to write a mushroom cookbook.
Wow. Then how did you pivot to peaches? Did they recommend that your previous
They
publisher?
actually they said, the mushroom cookbook did so well. They said, let's pick another ingredient. And I like, okay. So I went out to lunch with the editor and we agreed upon peaches.
Mhm. Perfect. Well, I'm not going to say what's to come next because we'll save that for the end, but I am excited to hear next. And I'm super glad that you picked that. Now, folks, listening to Mimi, you may recognize her name. She is quite accomplished in the foodie culinary world. So, Mimi, you trained at the prestigious École de Cuisine La Varenne in France. How does that classical training influence the way you approach something as humble and prolific as the zucchini?
Well, the zucchini, as you know, is very simple and versatile. And it lends itself to all the techniques that I learned in cooking school and, in all my cooking endeavors. You can bake it, you can braise it, you can make a cheese souffle.
Excellent. And so between your first cookbook that you started, the mushroom book, and now, what has changed in how home cooks approach single ingredient cooking? And in other words, like how have they become more adventurous since your mushroom cookbook, do you think?
Oh, I absolutely think so. And especially with the internet and YouTube, people are fearless in the kitchen. They'll start something and instead of getting frustrated and not understanding what the recipe means, they'll just Google it. So
Yes.
I
I
think it's
love
become
it.
a lot easier. And
Absolutely.
also, don't underestimate Amazon, and you can get your ingredients the next day.
Oh, that's fabulous. And we'll have the book, cookbook in paperback, hardcover, but also an ebook too, if you want to download it and just search for it. So, in the beginning, you talk about your garden evolutionary story, and when there's pictures in there, and it's kind of hilarious and relatable. So, you initially started, like we all do, with creosote soaked railroad ties, attracting ants, to assembling 20 metal gardens during a Yellowstone binge. I love that. So, when in this journey did you realize that zucchini actually deserved its own book?
Well, it was actually during COVID. Everybody was starting their new gardens, and
Yes.
the curious thing was people were planting more than enough zucchini. One plant is very prolific, but they were planting two or three. So I had questions from my friends and family, what should I do with all of this? And then on my end, I had, counters full of zucchini. So I thought, you know what? That this is going to get my creative juices going, just trying to figure out what to do with this vegetable.
Well, and it's always such a joy whenever you come out your front door and some neighbor has left a bounty of zucchini. I mean, it's just like, well, what is this heaven on earth? It's just so wonderful. So, Mimi, in the book, you have a lot of recipes with people's names on it. And you say, like, Mildred's famous zucchini bread, and I see Alan's apple cake and Nana's butterscotch sauce. Are these family recipes? And how do you balance your family treasures with your world-renowned French training?
Well, that's another good question. And two out of the three, well, one out of the three are relatives. Nana, it was my Scottish grandmother who loved to bake. I didn't include her shortbread recipe because she said my hands were always too hot to make her recipe when you're mixing the dough up. Anyway, and then Mildred, that's another curious story, is I was 13. I was driving my mom a little crazy because I was always into different things. So she set up this day with a friend of hers mother who was making bread. So I went over and I baked bread and zucchini bread with Mildred all day. She was making them in these big plastic tubs. So out of that came Mildred's zucchini bread. I tweaked it with, my own seasoning and, you know, put in even a little sour cream to make it a little moister.
Ooh.
And then I worked for a caterer, and this was her husband's famous apple cake. And it was good too, but like the apples were too chunky, and I added dark brown sugar and just tweaked that recipe a little bit too. So, and they all fit together like a puzzle in this whole cookbook picture. So I have family recipes and I have friends' recipes interwoven.
Yeah. And your international influence and decades of doing this. So you in this book, there's over 100 zucchini recipes, and you go everything, just like every cookbook, from breakfast smoothies, moussaka, soufflés. So with your background in editing and styling, what is the standard for when a recipe is book worthy? Because I'm sure you had other ones that didn't make the cut. How did you determine which ones make this next book of yours?
Well, I have kind of a cookbook bar in my head,
Okay.
and so I'll make a recipe and then I'll think, oh, this soup is a little too watery, or oh, there's too many herbs and it tastes kind of grassy. But then, I'll play around with it and try different things. And then it'll just be like, oh my God, this is it. This is delicious. I'm stopping here. Where some recipes go in the dog dish.
Okay.
So the dogs
They
don't
love
really
that.
like zucchini anymore either.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so now you showed me earlier today that you have created some special appearances. So do you want to show them to our audience right
I
now?
will. I just wanted to let you know I made these things just so people know that my cookbook is not just for summer cooking. We
Oh,
have some fall items here. Uh,
nice. And when
So,
and when Mimi showed me this, I was like, we could have done this in person and I could have sample tested, but maybe I'll connect with you later. But Amy, Mimi, go ahead and tell us what you have on the table here. It looks
okay, can you
beautiful.
see this?
I
Can you see?
sure can. I can see the
Okay.
bun cake and some cookies, and it looks like a soup over there. It's beautiful.
Okay, so we have like the three cheese tots, zucchini tots, which
Hmm.
everybody just goes crazy over these. And you can also freeze these and
Okay.
pull them
And
out.
Mimi, can you put the camera just down a little bit so we get the front of the table? There you go. I think that's the tots on the left-hand side of the table, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Can you see
Mm.
everything like that then?
Yes.
Okay, and then we have the loaded zucchini potato soup, which I know my sister uses this recipe all the time. You know, if people are sick or they've injured themselves and they need a nice heartwarming soup, this
Mm.
is it. And then we have Alan's apple cake with Nana's butterscotch sauce over there. And then we have chocolate chip oatmeal peanut butter cookies that you can also freeze these and pull them out. Um, and then these are my pecan streusel mini bundt cake.
Oh my goodness.
Those you can wrap in a nice tea towel and put some a raffia bow on them. This is much better than just getting a stick of zucchini from your neighbor.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
that's it. That's it for the
oh, Mimi, that's
things you can do.
beautiful. And I'm so glad you said this. We started working on this book in March and we're hoping for a August release because that's Zucchini World. But we had a lot of reviews and stuff like that. And no book shall be removed from the oven before it's time. But I love that you said fall is the perfect time for it too. And
I
hopefully,
know.
yeah. And I love that you did that. And Amy or Mimi, you talk also about you have a zucchini strawberry shortcake in there. And I'm like, wait. Zucchini in a dessert, so for people that love desserts, because everybody does, how do you convince them that zucchinis do have a sweet side?
Oh, well, you know what? I have a delicious recipe for a chocolate chip snacking cake. And you would not even know there's zucchini in it. It's just kind of a fudgy, the zucchini in it lends kind of a moist crumb.
Yeah.
So you don't, so you don't think of threads of zucchini and when you're cooking desserts, but more what they bring, the underlying flavor and kind of moisture to the recipe.
Hmm.
Because I also have like a maple carrot cake that is just wonderful with a salted maple
Oh.
buttercream. And I don't think anybody minds there's zucchini in that.
Well, it's actually it makes you feel better. You get points for having vegetables in there. So, and you'll
Well,
have to try
yeah,
it.
yes, yes. You get points for vegetables and your kids are eating them, not knowing.
I love it. So, Mimi, you went and with your friend Jane, you took pictures of everything. All the photographs in here are set up by you and your friend in your kitchen. You styled everything and you put them. Mimi is on Instagram, Mimi's Farm Kitchen. So, tell us about this and which recipe do you think was most photogenic?
Well, it's funny because you think one thing would be photogenic, and then you take a picture and it's like, oh my God, I can't get the right
Yeah.
angle for this. But I would say the stuffed portobello mushrooms with vegetables and bacon are
Mhm.
they just kind of pop with color. Um,
Yeah. Be sure and
yeah.
look. Was there one that you were like, oh boy, just not what I thought it would be? You probably just kept taking pictures
Uh,
because they're all
well,
beautiful.
yeah, I thought the egg cups, well, they're in little ham cups with an egg mixture. I
Mhm.
thought those pictures would pop, and instead those didn't come out as well as I thought they would.
Yeah.
Um,
And your background is beautiful. It's Mimi's farm. So this has a very precious, you can tell where it's located. It's got a very authentic vibe. It's got you from the towels to the dishes and everything. It's quite charming. And so Amy or Mimi,
you
I have
must.
like 20 Amy's I'm working with. Mary. Okay. Between you cater, you consult, you teach, you do food styling work. Which experience has most influenced how you write recipes for for home cooks?
Well, it was my time working as a test kitchen associate at Food and Wine magazine, because there we were getting chefs' recipes in, and we would, they made no sense. So we had to rewrite them, and we always had a formula. You just go through the recipe list and use the ingredients as they are listed. And, I just kept the recipes very consistent.
Hmm.
Um,
Absolutely. And if someone was listening, and what would be your top three picks for the recipe from your books to understand what zucchini can really do? What three would you recommend?
Well, the ones that are kind of out there, for example, is my Greek baked feta, which is a block of feta cheese, and you put it on kind of uh, roasted vegetables with a little bit of thyme and pine nuts. You bake that in the oven, and the feta just softens, and you serve that with like garlic rubbed baguette slices. Um,
Oh,
and then again, as mentioned, the maple zucchini carrot cake with the salted maple buttercream is fantastic. And
yeah.
everybody wants that recipe when I make that.
Oh, good.
Just,
You got that. How about a third one? So you got the kind of feta. Oh, God. I'm a cheese addict. That feta and that cake. And is there another one that you
but
really think people will
well,
just,
there is. There
yeah?
is a roasted butternut squash. I mean, because you dice it and then you roast it and it gets kind of a caramely flavor to it. And zucchini risotto. Um, so those would be my
Excellent.
three.
All right, Mimi. So what's next for you? In case you haven't noticed, what would you like to do next in a book? Everybody, I didn't have a zoo. I'm like, what? Because I always try and match what I wear to what my
Yeah,
authors
yeah,
are talking about. I'm like, I
yeah.
don't have a zucchini shirt, but I have my mushroom earrings and I have my pumpkin shirt because it's fall. What do you think? Are you thinking about what's next, Mimi? Do you
Well,
want our fans to ask you? Uh-huh.
I was just in my garden and I found about 32 of these butternut squash.
Oh, yes.
But you know what? Since I just did the zucchini, I don't know if I want to do another squash. I was actually thinking maybe I would just like write a murder mystery.
Oh,
Do something totally different, you know?
well, you could do something funny with like a garden parable, who chopped up who and who souffled who
Oh,
and
there you go. Yeah.
that would be kind of funny. And then it could be like a murder mystery cooking class where people figure out what's the missing ingredient or who did what to who. Anyways, we could go on and
Well,
on.
let's think about that. Maybe we can get an outline going.
I kind of like that. I think that's a great idea. And then I'll give you about 2 years and then you can do the pumpkin because I just love pumpkin. I live for pumpkin.
Okay.
So yeah, that's why I love fall so much.
Roughneck pumpkin, those are good for pumpkin pies.
Yes,
Roughneck.
absolutely. Well, Mimi, tell us about the publishing journey. You were seasoned when you came to us, but what's it like?
Well, you know what? It was actually pretty easy for me, but because I went, I had a dining guide. I went and I thought, since I have my foot in the door, I might as well just keep going with that, and followed up with the mushroom cookbook. So that just kind of fell in my lap, and same with the peach cookbook. But the zucchini cookbook, then I was thinking, okay. The publishers aren't quite quick to jump on cookbooks as they used to be.
Hmm.
And I knocked on a lot of publisher doors. And then then I heard about you from the other Tracy.
Yeah,
And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go the self-publishing route this
yeah,
time.
I
So
love it.
but my advice is just don't give up. There's a niche for you somewhere. Just don't give up.
Well, and I think you hit the nail on the head with Google, with AI, with so many things now. The market has shifted, even with children's books, even with leadership books. I'm even noticing, hey, we don't need as many how-to books because people can just get an AI and say, how do I do this? That being said, there are still wonderful outlets for it. Go ahead and do it. I mean, I'm having to adjust a lot of different things. So, but Mimi, you were a joy to work with. It was a lot of fun. This is the first cookbook we've done. So thank you for your grace and allowing us to add you to our canon
Yeah.
of tremendous authors.
Well, thank you. I mean, it was a great journey. I enjoyed every bit of it.
Excellent.
You
And I
would.
can't wait to get my batch to send out to everybody and include this in my thing. And for our listeners out there, if you're watching this, the book is out there. It's been launched. We will have the links to Amazon and how to get in touch with Mimi in the book, the ebook, hardcover, paperback. Contact us at Tremendous Leadership if you need any more information or want to get a batch of some for everybody else. And thanks so much. You know, Charles always said that you'll be the same person 5 years from now, except for the people you meet and the books you read. And here you have just met the most tremendous Mimi Brodeur, and you're about to pick up her Zucchini Harvest Cookbook. So, Mimi, just thank you again to everybody, and thank you to our tremendous leadership fans for your support of our tremendous authors.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Everybody, have a great day.